Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a E46 M3 day. That means we got completely stock E46 M3 versus highly modified E46 M3. So this one's obviously mine one, this one's customers. So why it's in, I've done a Supersprint exhaust headers replacement, and done the back brake pipes and rear diff bolt replacements because they tend to snap. First things first, plastics off. Next, reinforcement plate. So as you see, obviously headers is sort of tucked away inside there. What I'm gonna do is take the subframe off, sort of obviously disconnect the sort of suspension and leave it halfway hanging. Take the mount off, and then obviously I have access to the headers. So finally managed to take the manifolds off. Now we're obviously gonna compare what's the actual difference between, let's say, aftermarket Supersprint exhaust headers versus stock. First things first, what I've noticed slightly thicker pipes, and the flow rate is sort of, each pipe goes sort of down more backwards, I would say, because you can see these finishes around, well, in the middle there, but obviously Supersprint exhaust finishes there. And also what I've noticed, less sort of curves on this one, so better flow. I'm not really, well, it might gain something, but I reckon if you're not probably running a supercharger, it's not really worth the money. Well, it's totally up to you if you're gonna go this way, but obviously you probably was driving it and probably not gonna feel any difference. Maybe like 2 or 3 horsepower increase, maybe. But if you would run a supercharger, then obviously that would be sort of bigger difference, because obviously thicker pipes, better flow, obviously more air goes into the engine, more air goes out. So we'll see. Anyway, gotta install these. It wasn't actually that easy to take them off. Took me, well, I would say 2-3 hours, because I didn't have the electric ratchet, and it's just taking every single bolt out is quite pain, but I'll manage. Alright guys, we got another day. As you saw, I finished the headers. Wasn't the easiest job, to be honest, as I thought, but anyway, that's done. Now we're gonna focus on the rear brake lines because there is a bit of a corrosion on the back brake line, so we decided to change both at the back, and we'll see how that goes, sort of show you the procedure, what's involved. So we got joined there, and we're gonna change from there all the way to the back. This will be most awkward place behind the tank, and obviously it goes behind the tank, over the subframe, and to both sides. So that's the probably most painful part. Rest is easy. This is the most painful job, taking the fuel tank out, because I need to access that little corner there, because it goes literally just behind this section. Gotta drop the prop shaft down, and well, I think I fuel tank at least sort of halfway, so I can access there. Well, ideally I can do bodge job and good, just put brake pads around here, but obviously not on this car. So to do a job as clean as I can, as you can see, this is the sort of bung I made. So obviously when I remove the brake pipes, take them off, the fluid doesn't drip out. So, probably wondering why I'm taking out the back diff bolts. They seem to tend to snap, so BMW made an upgrade. So what I'm basically doing is just changing the bolts. You can see the difference. I'm not sure what coating it is, but I'm assuming they changed them for a reason. Get me there, boy. No, you will. So the job is done, and before the customer picks up, we want to sort of show you what you can sort of modify on these. Although list is massive, but we basically want to introduce what's been done on this versus obviously what's completely how the stock one looks like. Anyway, let's start with this one. Obviously you can see this is sort of CSL type bumper with the lip installed at the bottom versus completely stock bumper, where you can see obviously massive difference. My personal preferences would be CSL bumper because it looks much more meaner. I really like to sort of like have a double holes, one for the fog light, one for the brake cooling, and well, it's obviously there for a reason. The bottom lip looks awesome, I reckon, but to be honest, you need to be very careful because it's sitting, well, I wouldn't say it's extremely low, but on the speed bumps it's quite sort of, you need to be basically careful. As you noticed, this have a intake, well, headlight intake, that's there for a reason, for this CSL. I think it's a sort of CSL type intake, which actually makes difference in sound and the power. Power gains, if I'm right, maybe 20-ish. Correct me if I'm wrong. And obviously air goes in, and just look at this massive hole, it just goes inside. Probably wondering where the fuel, sort of air filter is. There is like, well, you can basically touch it there, it literally sits somewhere there, air filter inside. And let's say when you accelerate sort of higher revs, and you can clearly tell the intake sound straight away is completely different versus the stock one. What else on the engine side? Obviously sort of carbon cover, sort of like a plastic cover on top. I think mine was like a plastic, this one's sort of like a carbon type. Yeah, it does look nice, but obviously end of the day, depending how much it costs. Well, to be honest, this is like a show car, it's not a race car, so don't expect sort of, it's basically two different things. This is completely stock M3, this is more of a show car, I would say, not the one is made for the race, because to be honest, let's say, I mean, probably if you're racing, you want less weight and less plastics as possible, where this is like all nice and tidy, all like carbon fiber bits, like all sort of tip-top condition, all the sort of ugly wiring hidden, and well, it's basically, end of the day, just looking nice, you know. You can pull up in the shows and open the bonnet and sort of like, yeah, it looks nice indeed. Where obviously my one, well, just piece of plastics, nothing special, it's just completely stock. Yeah, what else? That's probably it on the engine side. So let's talk about brakes and wheels. So we got 19-inch Racing Dynamics stacked wheels with I think 20, yeah, probably 20 mil spaces, and M-Performance 6-pot front brakes, and I think at the back there is well, maybe 4-pot brakes. I think, yeah, 4-pot, 6-pot at the front and 4-pot at the back. I'm just comparing to completely my stock brakes. Yeah, it is slightly bigger disc, but to be honest, you could go even bigger. And I've asked the customer, does it actually feels massive difference? He says it's not really massive difference, slightly better, but I mean, probably if you would go for bigger diameter discs, then obviously that would be sort of much better for the track use. But as I said, this is more again for the show purposes, I would say. So if I were about to track it, then obviously bigger, much bigger discs, and even twin pot would be all right. I mean 4-pot, because it's not about how many pots you have in the brake caliper, it's just the size of the disc matters most of it, and obviously how big is the actual brake pad itself, you know. The more sort of friction, the obviously better brakes, if that makes sense. Forgot to tell you about the bonnet, main thing. GTR style, I think it's GTR style bonnet. I mean, whoever done the job, done really good job. Obviously, as you see, stock one is aluminium with the sort of flared in the middle. but this one, it's completely, I think, fiberglass, carbon fiber. Can't really understand, but either way, the job is done really well. Like even the edges and the corners looks very good quality. So whoever done the bonnet, respect, mate. So at the back we have Aceman back box with sort of tips facing upwards, carbon diffuser, and main thing sort of CSL type rear boot, which is not actual original CSL one, but this is sort of from fiberglass. And whoever again done the job done a really good job, because if you look at the color, it's sort of like what they done where they sort of sprayed all blue obviously, and they sort of made a half blended the carbon effect on the side, if you can see. Like it's a bit wet, but surely you can see, like look at that. So you got a blue and then it's sort of changing slowly to carbon. Like I think that's really good touch up. And again, all the touch ups, all the corners are really nice, good quality. So, and you can definitely feel it's much lighter. Literally I probably could lift it with one finger. Shuts all nicely. So yeah, I really like it. Obviously you can see my stock one, which is boring. It's just it's basically a stock E46 boot, just with the lip spoiler. They didn't change nothing on the M3s. So yeah, there's the back brakes, back wheels, obviously staggered with again I think 20mm spacer, 4-pot brakes. Really stands out on the wheels like that, because if I would, let's say, fit these were sort of racing dynamics where you sort of brake discs and calipers are very exposed, I would probably do the same, sort of install a nice Brembo 4-pots, and obviously looks much nicer on a car like this. So enough talking, let's show you the interior. So obviously, as you know, this is individual car, Atlantis blue. Sort of, I would say, yeah, fully loaded, because it has the blinds, it has a carbon music, all the sat-nav things, sunroof, just whatever. I'm pretty sure whatever you can have in the E46 it has. As you can see, he replaced the bucket seats and DIY the leather, which looks, I would say, gorgeous. Recaro bucket seats, looks really sort of original. PlayStation steering wheel. I mean, I like it, to be honest. I like the carbon bit, sort of flat bottom end. It's like probably the same, if you got a sweaty hands and stuff like that, you would rather touch this bit than this, because obviously this you can easily wipe off, where this it just rubs inside the leather. Trim wise, we got, I'm not sure what exactly it's called, but on, let's say, E38 BMWs, this similar type of wood is called poplar wood, which is very rare, and I think it's sort of much brighter on the E38s, but owner said he was thinking to sort of do carbon or something else, but probably gonna leave this because it really sort of stands out and it actually suits the car as well. To be honest, if I would have a chance to get that type of wood, I'll probably install in my one as well, because mine's a plain plastic, I would say, like silver. Really boring. I don't know, I just don't understand. It's like literally nothing special, not even a carbon. By fully loaded, you always look at how many bottoms it has underneath the climate control. As you can see, we got heated seat, DSC, Harman Kardon sub. I think this one's tire control, blind, obviously sport function, and literally if you got a full with buttons, then that means it's like it's loaded with options. And obviously we got also extended leather This is individual package and optional. And to be honest, that's about it. Obviously folding mirrors. This sort of compartment you can see is leather stitched. The car itself is more or less attention to detail, like before I forget, the side skids. As you can see, it's sort of like, I'm not sure is it some sort of a ACS type or something else, but obviously you can see side skids is sort of custom made as well. You got sort of like carbon effect on the side, and obviously air goes whatever it goes down there. Obviously that's another sort of small attention to detail stuff. Yeah, as I said, car overall looks really sort of attractive. Like I haven't sort of taken anywhere, but I bet it sort of like gives you loads of attention, because color itself, Atlantis blue, stands out versus like plain carbon black. It probably, if I would pass this, like everyone said, probably would say sort of plain E46, this is like M3, because you can tell by all these sort of detailed stuff, it's something different. And it is different. That's what sort of car people enjoy. Like they want to be different, I guess, like where they don't want to be sort of plain simple people where they can stand out if they can afford it, because like cost wise it costs a lot of money. Like probably this bonnet was more or less 1500-ish, the bumper was, I don't know, half a grand, side skids grand each, more or less. Like wheels are what, 3K maybe, really sort of roughly estimating, but that's like, we're not talking about couple pounds there or there, we're talking about hundreds and thousands of pounds. Like I think, if I'm sure, over 10 years customers spend maybe 40k-ish, including car, I don't know, more or less. Well, you're probably gonna ask yourself, would you sort of invest that much? Like, if you think from one perspective, let's say if you need to give 40 grand straight away, then you probably would say no. But through 10 years, that comes like what, 5-ish, maybe less a year. Yeah, probably less, 2.5, 3 grand a year. So that, if you can afford it, so why not? So you're probably wondering, would I do the same or similar-ish mods on my one? Probably not at the moment, or maybe not at all. Let's say for example, CSL intake, sort of carbon intake. Yes, it gives more PHP, obviously different sound, all that stuff. But let's say that costs roughly from 1,000 to 1,500, more or less. And well, it gives you more or less 15 to 20 horsepower, more or less. But that's like 1,500. Then you need a back box, midsection. That's what, grand alone. So that's like 2.5, more or less. And we're not far off from, let's say, supercharger kit, which is what, 6 grand-ish. So if you probably ask, yeah, I would probably spend 6 grand on the supercharger and feel massive power difference, rather go this way. But you can do both at the same time. It's like preferences for the people, you know, like someone wants just a show car, someone wants the power, you know, like whichever way you choose, obviously your money, your car, you choose, you know. But fair play to the owner, it looks really nice. I really like the car, and like many thumbs up. So I can bet wherever you drive you get loads of attention. Where I drive my simple E46 M3, That's the probably reason why it's sort of sitting and not getting used, because yes, I'm more of a power guy than a look guy. I mainly take my M5 out, then the E46. For the looks, I at the moment take my 8 series out, because that gives me, I would say, pretty decent attention. So question for you guys, would you prefer the look or would you prefer the power? That's like, because obviously cost-wise, it's like whichever way you go, it still costs a lot of money. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, would you spend loads of money on the look and leave the sort of engine stock, or would you just like put a whole money on sort of gaining the power up? Let me know in the comments below. So if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the car, because I did really enjoy the working on it and sort of reviewing the car, sort of comparing to completely stock M3, because obviously this one is highly modified. And yeah guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.